Okay, everybody, welcome to video number 7, and now we're going to be talking about the sensors, the great white shark's incredible array of sensors. And in this video number 7, we're going to be talking about the Ampulla lawrenzini, and we're going to be talking about the lateral line. And I'm going to use this model over here. It's a very nice model, and the Ampulla lawrenzini, just so you know, would be around the snout over here. You're not going to see it perfectly. I'll explain it to you. And this would be the lateral line on the shark, on the great white shark. Now, this is a very nice model, and I never noticed before, but this shark's actually got little scars on its nose, on its snout. And these models are actually made by a very good friend of mine. His name's Daryl Hatting. He lives in South Africa, and he makes them to 1.5 meters long. They're beautiful models. Anyway, and they're very well proportioned. Now, great white sharks have got an array of amazing sensors. These are, the best way I can describe a great white shark is an F-18 fighter jet. And it's got all these sensors out there. It's gathering information and it's cruising through the air. The great white shark's cruising through the water. It's gathering this information. It's analyzing this information, and is built for one purpose only: to take out prey in the quickest, most efficient way possible. The same as an F-18. It's built for one purpose: to engage other aircraft or enemy aircraft, whatever it may be, or things on the ground, and take them out in the most efficient, quick, and quickest way possible. Now, a great white shark doesn't swim around the ocean just trying to attack everything. And an F-18 fighter jet doesn't fly around the sky trying to kill everything it sees. Most of the time, the F-18 is just cruising around, pilots flying it, and it's doing its thing. The same as a great white shark. Most of its life, the great white shark just cruises around the water, minding its own business. But when it's got to do something, when it decides it's hungry, when it has to protect itself or feed or whatever, it becomes a machine. And it's got this array of sensors that help it become the ultimate killing machine. Now, the Ampulla lawrenzini, you can't see it on the snout here, unfortunately, but the Ampulla lawrenzini would be little paws. On a shark, they look like little paws all around the shark's nose and the snout, and they're filled with gelatine. And the main thing is that they pick up the minute electrical fields that occur in the water. They can pick up electrical fields of the earth. They can pick up the electrical fields around the bioelectrical fields around their prey items. That is why these animals can actually swim in water visibility which is zero, completely zero, and they use the different sensors, but one of the sensors they would use would be the Ampulla lawrenzini to detect prey. And especially when, with the young great white sharks, for instance, they will go down to the bottom, juvenile great white sharks, and they can hunt things like skates that are buried under the sand, that have hidden under the sand. They can hunt sole that are buried under the sand, using the Ampulla lawrenzini like a metal detector, because they pick up the minutest of electrical fields. So it's one of their sensors which assist them in navigating, also assist them in hunting, and also assist them in finding their place in the water column, because a lot of the time they're basically walking around with their eyes closed because the visibility can be that low. And imagine them swimming in the dark. They're swimming at night, there's no moon, the water's black. They have to rely on their senses. The same as a fighter pilot that's flying a jet in the dark or in the mist or in the rain, has to rely on the instruments to fly. A fighter pilot might have to land a plane just on the instruments because there's no visibility. And it's the same with a great white shark. It's got this array of sensors that help it survive in a very hostile environment in all conditions. Now, to put it into perspective, the ampulla of Lorenzini is so acutely sensitive that a good way to describe it is if you took a AAA battery. Okay, so you take a little AAA battery and you connect a copper wire to this AAA battery that's 1,000 miles long or 1,600 kilometers long, and it's only putting out 1.5 volts. A great white shark will be able to detect the current from that 1.5 volt battery from 1,500, 1,600 kilometers away on that copper wire. That's how acute it is. It is extremely acute. And as I say, they use it in order to navigate, in order to find their place in the water column, and also in order to hunt and find prey. So that is why they have this extremely sensitive system called the ampulla of Lorenzini. All right, you can go read up more about it. You can read up exactly how it functions. The main thing is that it's one of the animal's hunting survival systems, and it's extremely acute. Everything about the great white shark is acute when it comes to its senses. Now I'm going to talk about the lateral line. Now, the lateral line runs along the body over here, okay? Now, the lateral line is kind of, the great white shark also has an ear, but it's connected in a way to the lateral line because the lateral line picks up pressure waves. The whole body of a great white shark is actually an ear, for want of a better term, okay? It's an ear because it picks up these minute pressure waves in the water. And again, it's there for navigating, it's there for knowing its place in the water column, and it's there for hunting. For hunting, the lateral line can pick up the heartbeat of a species like a seal. It can pick up the heartbeat of a seal. So great white shark is swimming and there's something struggling in the water. So maybe there's a fish that's struggling in the water. The great white shark will be able to pick up the pressure waves from that struggling fish with the lateral line. There might be a seal in the water and the shark comes up to the seal, and the seal panics and his heartbeat starts increasing. The great white shark can feel that. It can also detect how far that seal is. Even if it can't see the seal from the lateral line, the great white shark will be able to detect how far that seal is from it and use it as a hunting device, as a tracking device. Now also imagine that a great white shark is swimming in extremely turbid water and it's swimming near the beach. The lateral line will be able to pick up the wave action as the waves break onto the beach, and it can then determine how far it needs to be away from the waves breaking in order to stay at a safe distance. The shark can also be swimming around a seal colony in extremely poor visibility, and the waves smashing up against the rocks will then transmit a pressure wave that the shark will pick up on the lateral line, and in so doing, the shark will be able to ascertain its position in reference to the seal colony, so it doesn't go and swim into the rocks and injure itself or kill itself. So it's there as a protective device, it's also there as a hunting device, it's also there as a navigational device. Now, the ampulla of Lorenzini is, there's not much more I can tell, not the ampulla, the lateral line is extremely sensitive, and there's not much more that I can tell you about it. But the only thing is that it's also a, what do you call it, a field of little pores in the shark's body, also with fine hair-like receptors, and that's how it picks up the pressure waves from the rocks, from the beach, from the prey items, etc., etc. So a shark can swim around you, for instance, and it'll be able to monitor how you are reacting in the water. That shark will know if you know that the shark is there just from your reactions and your heartbeat, and the way you move into the water, etc., etc., etc. So they use it as a hunting device, a navigational device, and also as a protective device to know where they are in the water column. So those are two sensors, the Ampelova lorenzini and then the lateral line. And as I said, the lateral line is basically like an ear. That's where the shark hears everything. It doesn't really hear things the way we would hear something underwater. We go in the water and we hear a speedboat go past. We hear that whine of the engine going past. The shark will feel it. The great white shark will feel the pressure waves from that outboard engine going to the water, from the hull of the boat pushing to the water, and that's how they use the lateral line. So anyway, I know this is a short video, but that's the most simple way I can describe the Ampelova lorenzini and the lateral line. And from now, we will move on to the next video, which will be the eyes and the nostrils, etc., other senses that the great white shark has. So thank you, and let's get on to the next one.